were you born on the 4th or after the 4th of February of any of the following years? 1992, 1983, 1974, 1965, 1956, 1947, or 1938? If you were, then this is an energy prediction for 2020 specifically for you. Hi, I'm Frances from Healing Vibrations, and this is a reading of the prediction of energy that will influence you this year based on Chinese medicine and the 5 elements of nature. And we look at the cycles of time in Chinese medicine, and particularly the 9-year cycles that we all each go through. So when I look at your cycle, or where you are in the cycle of time, you're currently in your 6th year of your 9-year cycle. So what this means is, what we'll do first is look at your energy pattern based on the year that I can see that you were born in, and just give you a bit of an understanding of who you are. Now, you are a person who we can class as being a strong support. You're the person who people know that they can come to and know that you're there to support that person in whatever way you can. And people know that you have got a great amount of strength. You're a person in nature, if we were to give you an archetype, you're very much like the mountain, and the mountain doesn't move. But inside that mountain there's a cave, and inside the cave there is lots of wisdom and transformation going on. So you are a person who is here in this lifetime to learn a lot of lessons and to deepen your sense of deeper inner transformation and self-understanding. And you're here to do life in the best way possible, but you may not always choose the easiest way of doing things, and yet you know that you're here to learn the deeper lessons. And for you, family, connection, your tribe is very important, and even though you like your solitary time, you will love to be able to come together with a group of people and help them to develop more strength and support. And so that's a little bit about you. But this year, you currently moved into your 6th year, and the energy of this year is all to do with about reflecting back on your life so far. So in Chinese medicine, it's very much about the season of autumn, where we've completed summer, we're moving into that time where the leaves are dropping off the trees, and it's a time of reflection, basically looking at what you need to let go of and what you need to hold on and hone away to support you as you move forward. Now, this is a time where you'll look at things that what you hold to be true and valuable to you. And you'll also be looking at what you've accomplished. And this will be a year and the first year of a 2-year cycle of rewards, meaning there will be, this is a time where externally you'll be recognized and rewarded for your achievements or anything that you've really worked on and shown that you have a certain amount of knowledge and power in, so to speak. So this is a good time for you to do some space clearing, for instance. It's really important for you to look at your environment and look at what you no longer hold valuable. So clear away things that are no longer, that are taking up space and taking up your energy. But it will be important for you to this year not to do it all in one go, but to do it in smaller increments. For instance, maybe an hour or 2 each day, just because this energy this year will make you a little bit more sensitive, and particularly to your environment. And if you were to overdo it and do a whole big, clean up in one day, it's just going to be overwhelming for you. Maybe it's a good time to hire a space clearer or somebody that will do some energy clearing around your home for you, for instance. Energy healing of any type is really powerful for you this year as well. And you may want to even do your own kind of space clearing where you put on some music and dance and clear the energy that way, or have a party or play some loud music, anything to kind of clear the energy in your space will be really important. It will be also important for you to define an area in your home that you can call your sacred space. This year you may even be looking, as I said, at your accomplishments to date, but also you'll be looking at the higher meaning and the true meaning of life in some way. And so it's important for you to have a space in your home, for instance, a chair or a space where you can have a little altar, for instance, where you go and sit and meditate or just sit and reflect. Will be really important. And it's not a place where you would normally do your work or do, have a phone call to somebody. It's somewhere where you can sit and be quiet and reflect. It will be very powerful for you this year. Now, as I said earlier, it's also a year, the first year of a 2-year cycle of reaping rewards. So you will be rewarded or recognised in some shape or fashion externally, either by people at work. Your bosses may recognise you more. You may get a raise or maybe another job offer, for instance. But it's not that you have to go out and make these things happen. This is nature, and this is a pattern of nature, and this will just naturally occur. So this will just naturally come to you. It's also very likely that you'll get more respect this year, but you'll also, you may get more responsibility as well. Somebody in your work environment may leave and you may have to step up and take on their role or just take on more responsibility in some way. And because this energy is all about the sky or looking up and achieving and reaching further and higher, it can be that people will tend to look up to you more this year as well. People may see you more of an expert as well, so be aware of that. And it's good for you to take advantage of this year in that regard and know that it's timely that you receive that acknowledgement and that respect. But what can also happen this year is that you will demand more respect. You will expect that people respect you. And this is a year where you may receive some acknowledgement and recognition and praise, but what can happen is that praise bounces off. You're not receptive to it, or it doesn't sink in. Whereas if somebody was to criticise you this year, that will tend to soak in. So be aware of that you may find that, somebody praising you you don't acknowledge that as much, but also self-praise would be really important as well. It's really a good time for you to acknowledge how far you've come. Now, this is a good year for you to look back over your life and look back at everything you've accomplished and really own it. It's really important for you to own it. One way that you could do that, and one way I do that, is to I put a little sign up in my bathroom beside the mirror, so that when I go to wash my hands and what have you, I look at that sign and it says celebrate. And I go, yeah, what have I done today that I can really acknowledge that I've achieved that or I've done that, well done. So acknowledge where you are and how far you've come. It's so important that helps to support you to continue moving on. Now, this particular energy or archetype of this year for you is similar to the archetype of the father or the king, meaning it's time for you to step into your own sense of your power. Because when you look at the king, he represents power and nobility. So it's important for you to step into that energy as well. So allow yourself to step into a higher or a new level of your own sense of power and to acknowledge it and own your power. This year, which is unlike last year, I could suggest you can move if you were looking at moving home. Last year was an earth year. It was not a year for you to move. There would have been a lot of change happening last year, lots of growth, lots of things coming towards you, lots of changes. Been quite an intense year for you last year. This year is a little bit more settled down. It's more of a recognition of how far you've come. And yes, it is okay for you to move this year and next year if you were really looking at that. This is also the year where you can look back at your life and look at what needs refining. It's looking at things that you might like to perfect and to improve on, and looking at all the tiny details. And it's also being aware that your sensitivity levels will be increased this year. So being aware that, yes, you may be more receptive or open to criticism, but please swap that, if you can, to allowing the praise that you get this year to sink in. And it's also a great year to just realise that this sense of wanting respect, also wanting more authenticity in your relationships. You may come across a little bit more demanding to people this year. So just be aware this is the energy of this current year that's impacting you, and that you may not necessarily be that naturally, but the energy of this year will be influencing you to behave in certain ways. But it is important nonetheless to step into your sense of your own power and to recognise your accomplishments so far. So that's the energy of this year, but there's a colour associated with every pattern, and this element, and this element is metal. And so the colours associated with this year are metallic colours, or silver, gold, grey, white, or bronze, or monochromatic colours. I'm wearing a bit of that silver and white here in what or grey and white in what I'm wearing today. So you can bring more of those colours into your life this year to support you with this energy by wearing touches of those colours, or also bringing them into the decor around you, or into your home, your environment, by putting a beautiful silver cushion on your bed or on your couch, putting up images that represent the sky, even going outside and looking at the sky and just tapping into that energy of that sense of there's a higher reason or a higher purpose for me being here. And you can also look at ornaments or jewelry that have, in those, metallic colours, or silver and gold, bronze, etc. So just bringing in a bit more of those colours and that energy to really support you to own your power this year. So I hope you enjoyed this prediction for your year in 2020. And if I can support you with a more clarity into who you are and what it is you're here to do and be in this lifetime, and a bit more about the energy that's influencing you this year, I do 90-minute divine blueprint readings based on reading the patterns of nature that are inherent in the features of your face, and also the patterns in your birth date, the day, the month and the year. And so I can give you some more understanding as to what emotions you're more likely to experience based on those patterns. Also what your true gifts and talents are, and your true purpose. And also we can look at the core issues that will come up for you as you continue your journey throughout life. And so we can also look at the patterns of nature that are inherent in your tribe or your family, or the people that are close to you, that will naturally be very important to you. So if you're interested in that, please click on the link below this video. I would love to have a chat with you. And I hope you that really tap into and enjoy the energy of this year. It is really such a powerful year for you. And I look forward to seeing you and speaking to you again soon. Bye for now.